Who and what is Banshi-hyeon, and where does he scale? Banshi-hyeon, or in short, King of Babel. Banshi-hyeon has claimed to be the weakest in the series in terms of strength, but strongest in terms of creation. Not only that, he's a member of the GOH organization, the same organization that is responsible for restrictions and regulations of the world flow. Let's clear the elephant in the room. Where's Banshi-hyeon from, and how come you haven't heard of him? You ain't wrong to ask that. Is not where, but when. He's a character from the official GOH novel, which takes place in the past, and only the past before the rise of Jinmori's saga. According to his lore, Banshi-hyeon is an imaginative type user who deals with making things that didn't exist back to existence. His power revolves around creating dungeons and things involving dungeons. He's capable of outclassing a priest or bishop from a higher believer. Priests are classified as a national threat, and bishop is a planetary threat via the Origok arc. If we go for a high-end, Ultio R during his bishop days is capable of making his own dimension. I'm not going to talk about the hero Kentari, depending on which you choose. He is capable of creating several standalone dimensions called dungeons. Each differential layer ain't ontological nor bear slight interpretation of it, but each layer are territories. Within his domain, Banshi-hyeon has total awareness, instantly perceiving all movement and presence, as the dungeon functions as an extension of his own body, can distort an intruder's perception by rewriting environmental logic, causing misjudgment of scale, distance, progression, and normality, often leading to cognitive disorientation and even erasing the people's memory. Banshi-hyeon does not possess notable physical movement speed, but within his created domains, his perception and reaction speed are instantaneous, as those worlds function as extensions of his own body, allowing immediate awareness and rule changes regardless of distance, making him low multiversal with instantaneous reaction speed, not movement speed. Sometimes, it is higher if it brings solidity that his main domain is the genesis to all dungeons. Banshi-hyeon is capable of creating what is called a 2D, plane that lacks the concept of end itself. This is not meant in a figurative or personal sense. It means the space-time of the realm does not contain end as a governing principle. This also does not refer to a literal mathematical two-dimensional plane. The author explicitly states that God of High School does not follow string theory or physical dimensional models. As a result, 2D is not a statement of geometry but of higher specialization. The world Banshi-hyeon creates may appear simple in structure, but it is not constrained in existence. Although 2D might normally suggest only length and width, the realm is explicitly shown to possess space, time, and even a sky, which already disqualifies it from being a literal two-dimensional surface. This makes it clear that the designation is not physical. The realm is called 2D, not because it is lower, but because it functions on a different conceptual level than conventional dimensional frameworks. More importantly, this realm lacks end as a concept. Boundary and end are not the same thing. A boundary is an edge. End is termination. End is the principle that allows anything to be finite, completed, and causally resolved. Everything that exists under normal ontology must possess end in order to be defined as a bounded entity. Banshi-hyeon's realm does not merely lack a boundary. It lacks end itself. That means there is no final state, no completion, and no ontological closure. This is not simply infinite distance. It is a non-terminative existence. If a space-time lacks the concept of end, then spatially it is boundless and temporally. It does not flow toward any outcome because there is no final condition to reach. Processes do not naturally conclude. Movement does not resolve into arrival. Existence does not terminate unless Banshi-hyeon himself authorizes it. This places the realm outside standard spatial, causal, and dimensional frameworks, because the author explicitly states that this world does not operate under physical dimensional models. It cannot be treated as a higher dimensional structure in the scientific sense. It is not a brain, a compactified dimension, or an extension of string-theoretic space. The 2D label is therefore conceptual, not mathematical. At its core, the realm is not positioned higher or lower on a dimensional ladder. It exists beyond the framework that defines dimensionality itself. What makes it distinct is not size, number of dimensions, or infinity, but the fact that it lacks the concept of end, the very principle that makes anything finite, bounded, or complete. That is why this is not merely an unbounded space. It is a space-time that does not possess termination as a defining rule of existence. Not only does Banshi-hyeon have a ton of hacks, but once Jin Mori got Nirvana, he basically picked up everyone's abilities, and Banshi-hyeon's included. And hey, don't forget that Yui Sakura actually surpasses Banshi-hyeon too. Overall, Banshi-hyeon scaled to 1A outerversal level, potentially higher with more supporting evidence. And when it comes to his speed, he technically doesn't have conventional speed, but his perception is immeasurable. If you count moving within his own domain as speed, then he'd also have immeasurable speed there, making it basically irrelevant in normal terms.